mercenaries. Let's do this business. Rob, please don't send me out with a superhero that look like both people. Are you gonna do the job or not? To take down a drug lord.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the classic 90s action film from 1993, Gunmen. The film is directed by Darren Sarafian and it stars Christopher Lambert, Mario Van Peebles, Dennis Leary, Patrick Stewart, Kadeem Hardison and Sally Kirkland. Now this film focuses on Christopher Lambert's character and Mario Van Peebles' character. Christopher Lambert is Danny, who is a criminal. We see him at the beginning of the film. He's in jail and he's broken out of prison by Mario Van Peebles' character, Cole Parker, who is working for the DEA. And the reason he breaks him out of prison is he's trying to track down Christopher Lambert's brother, who knows the location of a boat that has all the funds of the local drug lord, played by Patrick Stewart, Loomis. And essentially everybody where they are, which is in South America, like Latin America, is searching for this boat. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars on there. Everything that Patrick Stewart, his drug empire, has made over the years, because Christopher Lambert's brother stole it and he's hidden it on the boat. Everybody's searching for this boat. Now, Christopher Lambert knows the location of the boat, and Mario Van Peebles knows the name of the boat. So they need to work together to be able to locate this boat. And they are being chased down by a whole amount of bad guys led by Dennis Leary, as everybody is desperate to find this money. Right, what are my thoughts on Gunmen? Well, I think I remember when this came out in the 90s, I was properly into action in those days. And I loved Highlander and all this kind of stuff, so I was quite a big fan of Christopher Lambert. And this came out, and I loved it. I had this on VHS and watched it over and over again. It's a film that's, I think, quite criminally underrated. Do not get me wrong. This is not what you would describe as high production values classic, but it's got a really impressive cast here. Patrick Stewart at the time, 93, was very well known. I think he'd either just finished or was about to finish The Next Generation. Dennis Leary was a name in the 90s. He was doing Demolition Man and all that kind of stuff, and Small Soldiers. He was making waves in the 90s, not only in comedy, but also as an actor. And obviously Christopher Lambert was a known name, and Mario Van Peebles was a known name. So it had a really good cast, this, and it had a fun story. This was one of those buddy. You can't really call it a buddy cop movie because, Mario Van Peebles' character is the only cop here. But it's like a buddy movie. And they just had such great chemistry together. Both these two characters, Christopher Lambert and Mario Van Peebles. They appeared together, I think, certainly in Highlander 3, which came out after this, I believe. But they had the great chemistry. They had some great moments together, some great one-liners, and they were always trying to get one up on each other. Certainly, the daddy character, the criminal, he kept trying to get one up because he was a greedy little sod and he wanted all the money for himself. But you see their relationship grow and develop over the film, and they become, buddies by the end of it, really. And then you've got the wise-cracking criminal played by Dennis Leary, Armour, who has been hired by Patrick Stewart to track down his money, and he will give him a percentage of the money when he finds it. And this guy's ruthless, you know what I mean? He literally does not take any prisoners. He mows through people in order to track down both these guys to try and find out the location of this boat. So he's constantly chasing them and tracking them down, and there's this constant to and fro between the characters. The action is nicely staged. You get two decent villains here. Obviously, you get the Dennis Leary one, who also has a great moment in the film where he breaks the fourth wall and he's got a great death scene. Just as he's getting the death scene, he breaks the fourth wall, which I thought was really, really fun. Certainly at the time, I wasn't used to seeing that in films. And you've got Patrick Stewart as well, playing this villainous drug kingpin in a wheelchair, ruthless, who also has got a really memorable death scene. He gets kind of buried alive, and as he's being buried alive, he's like reciting the Lord's Prayer, and he can't remember the words. It's just brilliant stuff. So the film never really gets too complex. It kind of treads familiar ground here and there. They go to this bar to try and find a pilot to take them to the boat's location. Then they get caught by Dennis Leary's character, and then they end up having to go back to this bar to get this pilot again. So it kind of feels like it's treading over old ground here and there. And then when you watch it now, there are aspects of it that haven't aged particularly well. It tries to be as well edgy and raw. It's got recognised rappers singing in the bar, and it's got this soundtrack going for it that probably at the time felt fresh. It doesn't feel fresh anymore, aspects of this film, but it's definitely entertaining. And for me, this is one of those films that I think is a little bit of a hidden gem. I don't think a lot of people talk about this, and it's almost impossible to find. You certainly can't get it on Blu-ray, because I don't think it's ever been released on Blu-ray, and it's very, very hard to find on DVD as well. So I'm hoping that one day, Arrow or 88 Films will look at this film and then, maybe do something with it and release it. I would be very, very interested, definitely, in that, and I would certainly add this film to my collection. It is, it's a fun film with some highlights in it as well. And interestingly, this film was written by Stephen Sommers, who went on to write and direct films like The Mummy 1 and 2 at least, certainly, and he's done other things as well. So it's got a little bit of pedigree going for it as well there. So if you've never seen Gunmen, if you were able to catch this on a streaming service, or however, if you can get hold of it on a VHS maybe, or even if you can get hold of it on DVD, give this one a watch. It's definitely worth searching out to give it a go. I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you like, those 90s kind of cheesy, tongue-in-cheek action films, there is definitely a lot to enjoy in this one. It's not a film to be taken seriously, because it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just a fun romp. Very much a film of its time, but it is still quite entertaining to watch today as well. So I hope you enjoyed checking out this classic 90s action review. I will be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.